How's it going, my G's? It's Art1fact. Today we've got a wicked podcast, 7 questions with Peter from Overview Music, one of the best drum and bass labels around at the moment. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit all of those vegetable buttons down below, like and subscribe and all that. And if you want to support me a little bit more, you can check out my Discord community on Patreon. Come along and join that. Or you can also go down and check out my newest Vital preset pack, Metabase, which has got 50 of my most interesting, I would say, sounds that I've designed so far. You'll also get a discount on my production lessons with every purchase of that. Hope you guys will enjoy this podcast. Let's get into it. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, I've got you.
Mr. Marcel.
How are we doing?
Yeah, mate, I am very well. Yeah, man, just no rest for the wicked. How about you? Been a while? It's been a little while.
It has been a while, yeah. Yes.
Still living your best life in Berlin?
Yeah, I'm living here still, but I've been here for so long now, and I'm thinking about a change soon.
Move to Bristol like every other drum and bass producer.
Well, I think it's quite saturated there, isn't it now?
Yeah, you know, there's a few people doing drum and bass in Bristol, so
I wonder, like, because there's so many, it's like difficult to get an edge there, you know?
Yeah, it's a really difficult one. I think it can be. I do know some people that have. An example was Terence and Philip. They moved to Bristol for a bit, and I know they really struggled. Just it wasn't quite what they thought it was going to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's kind of how I imagine it a little bit. Yeah.
I think it also depends on what kind of drum and bass you make as well, without being like too
what's the best kind? What's the best kind over there then? Is it your kind of
rollers, mate? Rollers, jump up rollers, mate.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's between like jump up rollers and then that kind of like sofa soundy dispatch kind of stuff. Yeah. Like
it's not so much neuro there, is there?
I mean, they're like, oh mate, Bristol has everything, but I feel like the people that are really getting booked a lot in the parties are the Born on Road kind of like that kind of D&B. You know, they just got like, you know, Invicta Audio as well, like that kind of stuff. So I think if you're doing that, I think Bristol is a very good place to go. If you're doing something, probably, you know, again, like as a neurofunk producer, it could be very hard, you know, to go over there. Yeah, no, a little social, political.
But you're still living in Horsham, right, or Brighton?
No. I'm in Hove now. I'm living in Hove.
Oh right, okay. Oh, wicked.
Yeah.
How long have you been there then?
I have been there a year now. Yeah, year and 4 months. We moved in the second lockdown, me and my girlfriend. She was already living down here, and then we moved back to my parents for the pandemic. Yeah, and then got out. And yeah, man, no, I'm loving it.
Happy with that move, yeah.
Oh mate, yeah, no, it's been the best thing. Brighton is amazing. Come back to us. Come back to us, Marcel.
Maybe I might do it one day. But that's for the viewer of this. That's how we first met, was down in Brighton. And
hello, viewers.
I think it's one of my first, maybe my first or second ever gig was at Comedia with you and Felix from Lifestyle.
Yeah. That was a really good show, actually.
That was epic. I remember being so nervous before playing that, because it was like only my like second time ever up on stage. And like my girlfriend at the time was there, like some of my best mates were there, and I was just like shitting it. I was just like super nervous.
I mean, well, to be honest, we actually had quite a decent little crowd in there as well. We did. That night.
Yeah, I've still got the photos. It was sweet.
Yeah. No. God, that was. I mean, what was that? 2016 now, maybe something like that. I think. I want to say that's how long. Oh, yeah, that's scary.
Yeah, this kind of leads me on to my first question, because I prepared 7 questions for you. All right.
Right, and I have, and just to let everyone know watching this right now that I have not prepared at all. So all of this is freestyle right now. This is complete freestyle.
And I've tried to make them a little bit challenging and maybe a bit like, I have to think.
I was going to say maybe I should like introduce myself a little bit, because there might be some people watching this right now.
Yeah, go for it.
No idea who I am. So hello viewer. This is going on the Patreon.
It's going on my YouTube channel.
Oh shit! This is going to be legitly. No, I'm allowed to swear.
We can swear. It's fine.
We can swear. We can say fuck, shit, bollocks. Who gives a fuck? Hello, people. Yeah, no. Well, hello, YouTube. Hey, YouTubes. So if anyone doesn't know who I am, I'm sorry if I don't mean to like overtake your interview right now.
Go for it, mate.
So yeah, if anyone doesn't know who I am, my name is Peter, also known as Peter Piper, also known as Energy. A few people might call me other things behind my back, but you know, I try not to pay attention to that. And I run, or co-run, should I say, with a lad called Subantics, a label called Overview Music.
I thought it was all yours.
Oh, see, look, there we go, learning some stuff. I mean, look, I am in charge. Okay. Sorry, Ollie.
I think most of the viewers will know Overview Music. I think the Overview, I don't know why I struggle to say that word. I think Overview is definitely one of my favorite labels to look for tracks from when I'm like playing out. I'd always like be like, okay, let's check the Overview catalog, because there's always a few good ones.
I mean, if you're having like a sunny sort of chill down the beach, it's maybe not the kind of like you go to playlists. I mean, you know, maybe different strokes for different folks.
I mean, for my kind of set list, it brings it down a bit, the Overview things, because I tend to play like more heavy and neuro stuff, and then like the Overview stuff is like giving a bit of a like cool like break to like the like madness, you know.
Yeah, no, and I think like, you know, we've obviously got a lot of stuff. I think that's maybe the one thing about our sound is that it does kind of transition into different subgenres in a way, and we have different sort of feelings to it. And yeah, like for neuro producers, there are stuff that they can play. Even liquid producers, jump up producers, like it's
just high quality, all of it, isn't it?
Well, you know.
Anyway, did you want to introduce yourself anymore?
I mean, well, that's, you know, as I said, I do run it with Subantics. Ollie, he's like my label partner. It's essentially just me and him. And yeah, I've been running it since the end of 2018. And yeah, it's been going from strength to strength. We've had a lot of Beatport #1s and playing all around all around Europe and around the UK. We've done some sold out shows in London and Bristol. I was in Germany the other week, actually. So we're starting to get around a bit. I'm hopefully going to be in Berlin at some point as well.
We got to catch up, mate. It's been so long. Did you not have a night with Imanu recently down in Brighton?
Yes, that was literally just this weekend, just gone.
Yeah, and my best friend, he lives in Brighton, and he's not even really into D&B. And I called him up like the morning after, and I was like, "How you doing, mate?" And he was like still like awake. And I was like, where you been? And I've been to this D&B thing. Some Imanu was playing or something. I was like, what?
Really? No way.
You know how much that means to me, and you just went there like nonchalantly and didn't even tell me.
Didn't even really know what he was attending, but just went there anyway. Yeah, no, that was a really good show, actually. It was a very different kind of from obviously what, you know, we do a lot of like minimal techie rollers and all that kind of stuff. And Gyrofield and Late Sleeper, they played a really just like avant-garde bass music set, finishing it with D&B. Okay. Imanu John was phenomenal. I mean, he did just come in and just play a real tear out, like noisier neuro set.
Yeah.
But no, he did. We were a bit unsure what he was going to do, because obviously he's kind of like known, you know, he's trying to move away from the kind of drum and bass tag a little bit.
Yeah.
And but I think the crowd, he was just like, it's a UK crowd. They just want
the UK thing, isn't it? Yeah.
They just want hard D&B. And he came on. It was a real masterclass. When you see someone like that like perform, it's just like, yeah, damn. Like there's a reason why you're right on the top of the pile in a way. Yeah, no, he was really good and a lovely guy as well, John. Actually, as well. Big up to E Manu.
Yeah,
I've been
absolutely.
saying I Manu for too much.
All
Yeah,
right.
so yeah, lots going on. But yeah,
I'll
let's
jump into my
not
question
beat
now.
around.
Yeah. So
Uh-oh.
my first question for you is, how do you feel that you've changed as a person over the last 7 or 8 years since you started like becoming like a label manager, essentially? Or are you still the same old Pete?
Oh wow, you really are. You're really going in straight away right now.
Yeah.
I've changed immensely in the last 7 years. Obviously, I like to think that I'm still the same person is there to a degree.
Yeah.
But it really has been, I'm definitely a very, very different person to who I was, 7 or 8 years ago, back when I sort of first started getting into, say, record labeling.
I
Or
imagine
getting
you
into
must be
music.
just like managing so many people and like, dealing with artists, and maybe some have egos as well. And like, you must have to like, you
I'm
must
very
have to
for.
adapt, and
I
change
mean,
a little bit.
yeah. I mean, look, I'm actually very fortunate that I work with a lot of people that are not. We haven't got like huge egos
No, no.
In our roster, and I think that's one thing that I've learned over the years. I mean, maybe through sometimes before, but especially with overview, I've really tried to sort of steer away from those kind of people or whatever.
But not even
like
to that extreme. I mean, just in general, like just dealing with so many people, and everyone has their wants and their needs and things like that, and you have to sort of
yeah,
get a
I
lot
mean,
better at managing, don't you?
yeah, no, I mean that is the real thing. I mean that going from say where I was 7 or 8 years ago, and maybe dealing with sort of like one or two, three people, to now having to kind of juggle sort of like 20 to 30 people, and look, there's the other thing as well is that I'm very much kind of, I do so many different roles, in terms of kind of like a one-man band, in terms of I do all the online promotion,
Yeah.
I kind of run a lot of the gigs,
Yeah.
I do the A&R and source the music, and build the relationships. I'm a graphic
Yeah.
designer, so I do all the artwork. So yeah,
When you
that's kind
love
of
when you love what you're doing, though, it's all fun at the end of the day, or it's all like, because it's all your own
no,
project, isn't it? Really. So
no, that is, I'm in a very fortunate position where that is the case, and I've kind of got control of it. And look, yeah, so it's a sexy job, shall we say? And I do enjoy it, but it's not, it's not without its, like, that's the thing, like with the kind of level of management and the level of organization that you have to have, and have so many moving parts. Like I do sometimes, I am starting to think like, how am I actually doing this
yeah,
sometimes?
just like with eight legs, just doing like things at once.
Yeah. So I'd say that's definitely like, definitely one of the big big changes for me. And as well, like I think just generally, a couple of bad things sort of happened, and I had to really kind of like learn. I've made some mistakes along the way,
Yeah.
but I was lucky that I kind of made some mistakes when I was not quite, because I think the higher up you get, and the higher up the ladder, and the more visible you are, the mistakes that you make can have much more far-reaching consequences.
Yeah.
So the kind of mistakes that I made, I was at a lower level, and I learned from those. And
Is there any one that sticks out that you would be able to talk about specifically?
Well, I think it's like one of the big ones is, and I've sort of said it a bit recently, is that things don't always work out. Sometimes the world can be a cruel place, can be sort of like indifferent, and
it can be, yeah.
if you're not, because I mean, look, some people learn that a lot younger. Some people, with their kind of like maybe what they have experienced as a child, or growing up. Like,
no, I led a very sheltered life, and I didn't learn until later on. How cruel the world can be in some areas.
No, well, look, I respect for admitting that, because like some people don't, and I didn't for a long time. I maybe took for granted a lot that I had. And I think it can happen when you're in that position, and and you grow up in a comfortable environment. You've got a solid household and a solid family, and you're not exposed. Your family do hide you from a lot of what is actually out there.
I agree.
And that's the thing. Like we were saying, when you're then on your own 2 feet, you haven't got that safety net. And you're in there, and if you're not aware and you're not kind of a bit street savvy and knowing what's going on, there are whole many obstacles, and like I said, the world it can be very indifferent and a very cool place and very unfair. And I didn't experience that so much until a bit older. With a couple of things going kind of wrong, and it was like a real slap in the face to be like, you know what, things don't always work out. And
that's exactly what I was sort of hoping / thinking your answer would be, like when I asked this kind of question, because I feel like we kind of would have gone through similar kind of things. Because I remember when we first met, like it was we're probably way different. Like, well, we've been through so much more shit since then. It's probably opened both our eyes up a bit more to like.
And it's that it's that thing of like the maturity, the maturing of that. Certainly I think that's that is the real biggest difference for me is going from being look, 7 or 8 years ago I was probably a 23, 24-year-old, and you sort of think you're a lot older than you are, and then that sort of last period has been a real sort of growing up and starting, I think that's the thing as well, you start getting towards your kind of like older age. I'm 32 now. Not obviously that, a lot of people.
Are you 1 year older than me? Okay. I thought we were the same age, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, no, okay, no. I see. I thought you were younger. You're very fresh. You're a very fresh-faced 31. You've got some good genes. You've got some good genes there. But that's that thing. As I said, like maturing, and the older you sort of get, you don't have as many opportunities. And I want to say you don't have as many opportunities, but things aren't as easy the older you get. You
get more tired easily, don't you?
You get more tired easily. That's a real thing.
You got to use your energy in the right times and places and stuff, haven't you?
And I think I think that's that's a big one. And I think just the level of responsibility, that's the thing when obviously when you're getting up, you're in a getting into a relationship, or you've got the bills and the real world to sort of like things to have to pay for. And obviously some people do learn this a lot younger than others, but I certainly learned that more the older I got and the older I'm getting, and then it kind of gives you a different focus to be like, right, you can't just sort of like waste your time in a way, because that was definitely a big difference to me 7 or 8 years ago.
I was wasting so much time back then as well. I wish I didn't, in a way, but I didn't realize at the time either, so and I think it's okay to go through that in your early 20s, like going partying all the time and just kind of.
I think it is. I think that, like you're saying, like half of me does wish that I'd have figured out a few things, and I had some fun and I had some great memories, but then not even just that, like for instance, I used to be I still do partake in it sometimes, but I'm not as bad as I was. But I used to be a big weed smoker, for instance. And
I was when I was in my teens and early 20s, but I stopped around 23 or something.
Right. I mean, I was probably a bit later than that. I probably was, and I've had an off and on going through periods of it or whatever. But I mean, from probably the ages of about 14 up to about 25. Like I almost smoked weed every day, and it was like what I. It was like the point of my day was usually to. We are really getting onto some good discussions right now.
This is good. Just flowing quite well. I'm happy to keep it as a longer one if we need to.
No, look, I've got time. I've got all the time in the world. but that's the thing, like I said, like I used to something like that, for instance, and I only from looking back at it, because the amount of time that I wasted just getting stoned and sitting in a park, or trying to find the money to get to get an 8 or a 10 bag or whatever you could, like, everyone's chipping in £2.50 to like try and get it. And don't be wrong, like I had some good times and some great social memories and stuff as well, but it was a lot of time wasted.
It's quite pointless at the end of it, isn't it?
And yeah, it is like, it was just like, well, what did I gain? What did I gain? What did I gain from it? So I think it, that was definitely a real sort of realization, and then to sort of like get away from that, something like that, when you, again, like you're tired, because that's the thing, when you're younger, you think you've got all this time and all this time.
That's true.
And you feel like you're invincible and nothing, and you're young and that's great, because I think that can be very freeing and very, and you do miss it. I do miss that, like not having that responsibility and and having all that time and not caring. And there's no.
But I mean, I suppose you could still have that if you had nothing that you cared about that you wanted to sort of achieve in the world, couldn't you? But I think
I know some people that that are still living like that, at 30 and older. That you do sort of think, oh God, God, man, it is time to kind of like move on a little bit, and like, if you really, that's the thing, if you're really going to try and make something of yourself and make something of your life and go somewhere, that you've got to make it happen, because you can't just expect it to happen. And you've got to, you have got to put the, put the work in, and be mature and be focused. And that's, that's been the big change. Definitely one of the real big changes.
Nice.
So
cool. Yeah, that's definitely answered my question.
We're off to a flying start.
All right. Number two is, how important is building a community around your label these days, especially when artists can just release independently?
Massive.
Because I think if a new person just starts a label or something, who are you? Why should I release with you when I could just release myself? And I guess if there's, I see when like labels like yourself, you have like a bit of a family, so it's like I bet that's like so important to you to keep that sort of community within your label, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost, the whole thing is going a lot further than that. I've started to kind of get the word family starts to get a little bit cringy and a little bit cliche, but there's certainly some truth in that. And that is something that was a real intent, and has been a real intent of Overview's right from the start, was that we have this core roster of artists and people that we're all, it's not just there is the business aspect, but it's also on a personal friendship level. These are people that we talk to about stuff, and that's the thing, is everyone feels like they're a part of something that's bigger than just the artist. I mean, and that's the kind, it's a two-way street. I think that's the important thing, is having that kind of like symbiotic balance between, because I don't want, the artist to think, oh, well, I'm bigger than Overview and Overview doesn't matter. But then you can't, also can't think, oh, well, Overview's bigger than the artist, because without the artist, we don't have a label. So it goes two ways.
Symbiotic is a good word there. Yeah, I like that.
I know. But it's definitely that real thing. So we had that, that as I said, from that real, and I've said it to a lot of people, to be honest with you, when a lot of people have asked me, because I've been helping mentor some labels coming through, and some people have been asking me for advice, because obviously they look at what we're doing and go, wow, like I want to do that. And one of the biggest things I do say is that to have that defining roster of artists, and that your crew and that being so important, because that's the thing, you can turn around and you go, oh, Overview, it's this artist, or you talk about hospital or critical or anybody, and they have that kind of thing. But then it does go further than that though, and that's one thing I think that we have.
So who would you pick, like sort of 3 names out of the air for like 3 overview artists, just
Wings,
for like
Waves, and Clinical?
Okay, yeah, love all 3 of those.
They're like the golden trio,
the Holy Trinity.
The Holy Trinity.
Yeah.
There are probably someone like Rizzle as well.
Yeah.
I mean, Jarfield, I think, has been moving into that as well.
Yeah.
We've got Operate. There's probably going to be more that I'm just going to get Ill Truth as well.
We don't have to name them all.
Let's go the whole roster. Who is it? Who is it all? I mean, yeah. So
King, Armor King, Martial Law.
But we have that. We have that kind of like said, that kind of like core lot, and they are either not exclusive. We don't exclusively sign anyone. It's all kind of like we have a very kind of like open relationship.
No, that kind of makes sense.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's one thing we try to give our artists sort of freedom.
Yeah.
Obviously we want to be kind of like prioritized if we're going to be prioritizing them.
Yeah. So then, say an artist like Waze or Clinical or someone, they still want to always release with your label then, don't they? Do you not think that they would ever get to that stage where they think, oh, like I can just release it myself now and take, all of the profits or something?
I mean, I think that they could do one day. And I think that's a very real.
Like what are the sort of main things like to want to still
that happening?
Or no, that makes them don't want to do that if they're still
because running a record label is actually incredibly fucking hard. And I think that unless I think if an artist was to especially if you're going to go bigger, say Clinical, because like Clinical has said about it, and he has sort of said maybe one day I would like to do that. For me, I would like to help him do that. Like I wouldn't like sit there and go, oh no, don't do that. Don't ever. I only ever want you releasing with us, because what it can open up. But it is that thing of like, and that's the reality. I think that some people do find out that it's actually really hard to do. It's really hard to do well as well. There's so many things to think about, and it's not cheap as well. I think especially if you're, Jack Workforce is an example of someone that I know. He does all his own animation, he does all his own artwork. He's got someone in there kind of like helping him do the kind of like logistical bits. He's got it very well set up where he can save himself a lot of money. But if you are an artist and you're going to go and message a graphic designer and a videographer, and all of a sudden it's like, damn, and all these things, because a lot of artists do, and they do say, and that's one of the reasons why they release with a label, is that they just want to focus on releasing the music. Really,
they keep it nice and simple from the handle the rest.
And that and that's what we that's the thing, and that's what we try to do is we can offer a fantastic service that an artist knows that if they give us their music, yes, okay, they're going to be having to give 50% of the royalties away, but
they've got a lot less on their mind then, haven't they, as well?
They've got so much less on their mind, and they know that we're going to come in and provide fantastic artwork, great animation, solid promotion, really doing our most with the music, and be really open with everything. We pay people on time. We really, it's really trying to offer that.
Oh, that's really good, mate. Yeah, that sounds good.
And obviously, we are obviously able to offer shows as well, which is which is another big aspect that an artist wants.
That's important for a label these days, I suppose, isn't it?
Huge
a label to have their own nights and stuff. I guess.
It's what I think. Again, it's something that does separate us from a lot of labels, is that we are doing, and especially recently it's really picking up. I mean, I am an event promoter first and foremost. That was what I did first within drum and bass. So I've been, I'm a party person. I do, basically. So for me, that's what I want to be doing. I want to be getting out there, and that's the next stage of, you got the online and you got the releasing and you got that side of it, but you've got to have it somewhere. It's got to be out somewhere. And for me, that's just what I love. I love going to places. I love putting on parties, seeing these people respond to your music. And obviously for us as a label, the artists are looking at that going, well, damn, if I do sign my music there, I get to go to do it. And not only that, but we, so
a little bit of a side question. Just because you're mentioning that you've done like different events in different places and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, what's the one, if there was one that you would always remember as being like, wow, I've done this like here, and this is really cool. Which one would it be? Or is there too many?
Not too many. There's been
something that really stood out the most of like a weird location or just a particular.
I've been to some weird locations. To be fair, the one that I actually did in Germany, the last we did a show in Karlsruhe. Big up to the TF Tom Therapy crew. But I've played there twice now, and that is a really, really fun special gig.
Like the crowd there in that place.
The crowd are just like, there's, I don't know there's something in the water in Germany, but just people just really like to dance and really like to just go for it. I mean, I think it can be that thing, because the UK, we're so spoilt for drum and bass. It's unreal. And then I think when you then come to a place where they maybe only have like one drum and bass party a month, or once every 3 or 4 months,
it's a bit more of a little bit more scarce, but just enough.
But it also makes this, it makes it special. And the people that then come to the shows, they really, really appreciate it, and they really are there to really have it and really have a good time. Whereas, you come to,
I love that.
But that's the thing. And then when you come to the UK, don't get me wrong, I love playing in the UK, and we've done, there's some standout shows. Last year we did a sold out show at E1 with Critical, which was like, that was the biggest crowd we've ever put our label in front of
in the UK.
That was mental. And then we did Bristol as well. It was literally within the same week we did 2 sold out shows in Bristol and London, and they were probably the most like special gigs in terms of just sheer size, and a bit like I was scratching my head, just like, how have we done this sort of thing?
Okay. Epic.
So they were great, but saying on some of these other places that you go to, especially around Europe, we did one in Sweden.
Have you done any shows outside of Europe?
Yeah, I have played in Australia as well.
Oh, right. Was that what, just as yourself, or
no? That was Lifestyle. That was actually Lifestyle.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. We did the connection. I was on that on that EP. Yeah.
You were on the remix.
I had a remix on one of them. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, the Australian Connections remixed, which I wasn't actually part of the label by the time that was released.
No, that's true. You would have probably that project. You probably wouldn't have let the song go on it, because I think it's a terrible tune.
Oh no! Well,
I'm like, when it got signed, I was like, really?
Really? Are you sure?
Yeah, I didn't really like that one that I made.
I think the quality control, kind of what one of my jobs was there. Who knows? But I did. We did like a mini tour, Perth, Sydney, and Melbourne. They were really good. Sydney wasn't the best crowd, to be honest. Melbourne was probably, I'd say, in terms of like vibe, was probably the most fun. I played a really good set in Melbourne. Perth was cool. It was like a really big club. But this is it. It's the funny thing with
Perth is weird, because it's like it's on its own in the middle of the other side of Australia, but it's got like a quite big D&B scene, isn't it? Because I remember getting a lot of like listeners and followers like from Perth.
It's got the biggest D&B scene in Australia. I think in terms of like you know, it's that thing of like
concentrated.
Yeah, numbers. It's like, okay, well,
Yeah.
if you put on a show, how many people are going to come and see it? And they really do. I think a lot of it stems from Pendulum, where Pendulum are from Perth, and I think where it's isolated as well, also, because it kind of cuts it off a little bit from, so that it's not influenced. So like drum and bass sort of like took off in Perth, and then it kept on going, whereas like it wasn't sort of like influenced by the outside world.
Quarantine a bit in there.
No. It's a real thing. You know, it's the same with kind of what's going on in New Zealand at the moment in a similar way, where it's so isolated from the rest of the world that it's kind of like its own microcosm, where its own planet, where, you know, it's like, you know, it's like evolution, you know, New Zealand being that kind of, you know, where with the weird animals and weird birds, that because it's kind of cut off a little bit. And obviously things are changing with the internet, but it's about the parties as well. I think the parties are the big one, because that's what really shows people what the music is, in a way, because although yes, you can, you know, listen on Spotify and you can listen on YouTube and all the rest of it, there's nothing like going to an actual drum and bass party. And now I'd say that was the other thing with Karlsruhe in Germany, is that Marcel.
That's me. I'm Marcel.
Oh no, I think that might be me, actually. Sorry. Marcel, who runs. Actually,
that's you're talking to me.
Yeah, I am talking to you.
My name's Marcel.
Yeah, no, he's called Marcel as well.
There's another one. What?
Yes, right. I'm sure there's many Marcels. Oh,
damn it.
Sorry. But yeah, big up. I'm gonna say it once again. Zeton Therapy, amazing guys. But it's really interesting, because he has been like a very committed promoter, in terms of he has like, and probably sacrificed money and all the rest of it. I mean, he's been doing it since sort of like 2010, 11. But he's been booking very kind of like, it's like your Amos's and Kairos and QZB, and educating that population and educating the people of that city. And they've seen it, you know, they've seen these amazing people come and experienced how good the drum and bass can be.
Yeah, for the high quality.
Which is then really converted and educated the community. So then when something like Overview comes in, these people already know what they're coming for, and they're fans of the label. And they're like, right, we like this type of drum and bass. Whereas you go with some places where they haven't got that kind of like heritage, or haven't got, you know, someone in there. I've always likened it to keeping like a flame alive, in a way. I mean, you have all these different locations around the world where, you know, it can maybe only take one person to be that kind of like very, very committed person who just will just keep on going and keep on going and keep on going until it kind of like, and it's like being the only person on the dance floor when no one else is dancing, isn't it? And just going crazy on your own, and eventually other people feel comfortable enough to join in. I think that's a fantastic analogy, and that
Thank
really,
you.
And
I'll be here all week.
I'll be here all week. Marcel, philosophical analogies, but no, I really believe in that, and I would say that, even my own kind of like career trajectory has worked in that way, where I've just been very, very dogged in not giving up, having extreme sort of grit and determination, and sticking to my guns in a way, in terms of like what it is that I like, and putting on these parties that I want to see. And I've had some real fucking disasters along the way, but I've also had some real fantastic shows. And then after time, it's like people kind of like cotton on, and the whole thing just sort of like grows and organically snowballs out of it.
All right. Nice.
There we go. We're on question 2. Jesus, we're
going to get a bit more producer technical now, right?
Oh no.
What are 3 of the most important things you listen for in a track when you're signing it to your label? And feel free to be as like geeky or specific about you know, what kind of sound or things that you think are just have to be there? Or
well, I should probably say first and foremost, I am not a producer.
yeah,
So
but you do have the final say on the songs, don't you?
some of the time.
Okay, not always, no.
Well, we do. No, we do. Like, obviously, everything has to be vetted.
Yeah.
But one thing that we have always tried to with offer, not with everybody, to be honest with you. Like, I would say that we kind of like work it up where there's like a level of trust, and maybe, you know, because there are some producers out there that we work with that they make phenomenal music.
And you don't need to really get in the way of it, do you? Just
No,
yeah,
and I'd rather
it's
not.
finished. Okay, let's do it.
No, I'd rather not. You know,
Yeah.
it can be a good thing and a bad thing, I think, sometimes. Like, but in my experience, it's mostly a good thing in terms of, and producers respond to it as well,
Yeah.
where we do kind of like take the shackles off, and we're not sitting in there going, right, okay, we like this, but we want this 16 change.
No. That's annoying, isn't it? I mean, yeah.
I mean, you know, some producers maybe would like that, and if you've got someone like noisier, kind of like giving you that kind of like help and push,
Yeah.
yes, you know, maybe, you know, it can be good, but it also can be, you know, can be incredibly frustrating. But where, you know, where we don't have that, you know, like I said, I like that we can offer that, and we do just sort of say, look, we would like an EP.
Okay.
Go and, you know, go and make it, and then when you're happy,
okay,
then come to us in a way. And
so,
and some producers are different. Some producers will like a bit more of our influence and our showing us whips, and even helping, you know, say they might send over a set of 8 tracks, and we'll be like, well, okay, we like these, we think these will work, and you do gain that kind of, with even, you know, I said, even, you know, and I do have, you know, I'm not completely illiterate, you know, in terms of knowing what I'm talking about. You know, and I can, I don't know, it's that kind of thing. You can hear, you're saying, what do I look for?
Yeah, like more generally then, like sort of 3 things that you like love about a song that you're just like, you know, each song needs to have like these 3 important elements.
I mean, when I say, you know, the specific elements, I'm not sure that, you know, I don't think I go out there looking for a specific element. I mean, we have a certain kind of style and feeling and vibe to overview music stuff, but that's not to say that I wouldn't try something if a producer comes to me with something that's very good. I think that's, you know, for me, it's always this, you know, this bar of quality, you know, is one sort of thing that I'm looking for, is like, okay, well, we release music by this and this music is on this level.
Yeah.
You know, does this music,
so number 1 would be a high quality finish, for example.
Yeah. You know, and for me, that is probably that probably is the most important thing.
Yeah.
You could say
you can tell with the label, because every time I only expect high quality, like finished audio, and if some songs, they might be too like minimal for me, or like don't quite tickle my balls, but then other ones like definitely do, but like,
but you can at least appreciate and go, it may not be for me, but I can appreciate that it's
then the quality is really high
music,
as well.
and yeah, you know, and that is a big one. You know, that is a big one, and that can be a very, very tough thing, because it's hard to find that that music, and you know, and maybe only certain producers can actually reach that level. And it's sometimes it's hard to even put your finger on what that is. Like, you know, it's almost like a bit of a sixth sense in a way. And I'm not to say I'm always right. I mean, that's one thing. Like, that's the other thing. You know, we have made mistakes, or things that I don't think are going to do as well end up going on to do really well, and vice versa. But you know, in general, you know, I've been doing this for so long that when I hear something, it triggers something in my, you know, in my brain, or I sit there and sort of like listen to it, and I go, you know, and you can just hear that.
It's almost like an instant like impact that you have from a song, then, isn't it? In a way, it's like it's either happens straight away or it doesn't. Like, Sort of
Yeah.
with the drop, for example, like it either just hits you or it doesn't, like in your way.
Yeah, I think it's certainly some things. I mean, it's become a bit tougher, I would say. Yeah, we in a little bit of like having the kind of like success that we've had. Having that pressure almost. And obviously, like, say when we were first starting Overview, we were never even really worried about how was the release going to sell or how many plays was it going to get or anything like that. And then obviously then you start getting that kind of like success and having that, and then that then ends up kind of like being factored in a bit. But then it's that battle between keeping it real and not worrying so much about that, and trying to just, if you like it and the producer likes it and you think it's going to be a sick tune, you're not thinking, oh well, is this gonna sell me units, is this gonna is this gonna stream well on Spotify or whatever. And that's what we've been maybe having a battle with a little bit more.
Do you
lately.
also look for, or when you listen to a song, do you think or hear something that you're like, oh, that I've never really heard it done that way before, or that's kind of new, or that's like a weird little twist on a rhythm, or that's a weird little like new kind of sound used in D&B that I haven't really heard before? And then do you ever think like, oh, that would be great for Overview because it's kind of it's got a little bit of a freshness to it that's like a bit unheard of before? Like, do you kind of look for that kind of stuff as well?
I think so. We, I think again, different producers do different things, and obviously, some producers are much more want to, push the boundaries.
Push the boundaries a little bit, yeah.
Someone like Gyrofield is a great example of that. Where, I mean, she just came along and like when she sent the demo in for her first EP, I just never heard anything like it, and it was just like completely my brain was completely fucking blown. And and she's very much a producer that likes to do that. Others are maybe not so. I'd say maybe when you say like another thing you say that's important, I would say on that second thing, and obviously what you're talking about, I think having a sound and a vision and a style that is unique to that producer, I would also say is probably what else we do look for. It can be tough because it obviously you are restrained to a certain template and obviously whatever, but I mean, I did a bit of a status about it the other day that kind of ruffled a few feathers, because it was sort of like talking about how there is a lot of the music is sounding very similar to each other. And I know that's probably an argument that's been had.
I think that's the same in music throughout history, though. I think that's an age-old argument that you can have in any genre.
I think it is, and I think and maybe I've been trying to sort of like I've been trying to sort of like talk to people on it, but I feel that and maybe maybe it just goes in waves, but I feel like I do feel like the specific kind of like subgenre of deep tech kind of like D&B is not quite as fresh and quite as exciting as it was, say, 4 or 5 years ago. I think I get you.
I guess it gets to a point where it sort of comes into like a ball and it's just like staying the same, and then eventually someone just sort of breaks out with like an idea or something like from that kind of genre, like takes it in a new direction, and that's like, I think that's how the real people that push the music kind of forward, like they become successful in that way,
but I'd still say that even that's the case. I'd say that for the people that we have on our label, it is really important, and I think that's something that is so strong about us, is that you really can, a clinical makes clinical tracks. There's no one else that makes music like him. Gyrofield, there's nowhere else that makes music like her. Rizzle, Ways, there's a lot of people, they're not copying people straight up. I mean, there might be elements and there might be things and you know, and then obviously like people start copying them in a way.
Yeah.
But I really do feel like you know, that's something that we're very lucky to have. For something for me is like, I think really, really important for any producer really, because I think it can just be very easy. And I do feel like, you know, I do feel like with the kind of like rise of things like Patreon,
Yeah.
you know, it has kind of like opened up so much. And maybe some people do just kind of like, you know, it's almost like a shortcut in a way, because it'd be like, right, well, this sound is popular, this person is popular, let's just try and sort of like emulate and make music like them.
Yeah.
And
I've heard, I won't name any names, but I've heard one of my favorite producers was sort of complaining and really angry on Instagram, because he was like, why is everyone copying my sound, and like, why does everyone keep trying to do exactly what I do? And I think it's difficult and it's annoying, but at the same time you should take it as like a compliment, and like you should almost be flattered by it, because it's the kind of thing you can never really stop happening. But like the fact that someone's trying to copy your sound means like, oh shit, like I'm pushing shit in the right direction, and these guys are like onto this now. you can kind of step back and be like, okay.
I think it's flattering, but I do think there is a point where that person should tell people like, look, you know, I think there's a point where, you know, emulating or whatever is kind of cool, but try and do it in your own way. Try and like try and do something different with that. Like, and I think that's what I find a lot of people, you know, a lot of music that, you know, I do get sent, is not doing enough of that. People are not, you know, I'm not sure that, it's to sometimes have that kind of like real depth of intent and reasoning behind your music. You know, you know, that real creative expression. But again, it's that thing of like, you know, it's different. It's like, you know, different people want different things, and you know, we are, you know, we are, you know, and I try to be a label and try to release music that I find is doing that and is kind of like very creative and sometimes pushing the boundaries and whatever.
I think you do, I think you do that really well.
But not, you know, just because that works for me and that's what I want to do doesn't mean you have to do it that way. No. You know, it's like Boyzone, you know, for example, you know, someone like them who, I know that's a bit of a random thing, but someone like that, you know, or Westlife or whatever, you know, they make music that isn't trying to be, well, they did make music, you know, that isn't trying to be that breaking the mold, and you know, they just want to make feel good, big sing along, everybody's having a good time music. That's what it's trying to be, and that I think is still okay. Like that still is okay. And even within drum and bass, like there is definitely music like that in drum and bass that is not trying to break the mold.
Westlife remix.
There we go. I'm coming. It's coming for you. But they're not, you know, and you know, and that's the thing. But you know, it does get annoying. It does, you know, you can let it, you know, if you do sit there and look at some of it, and it can be very easy to be, you know, again, that kind of like archetypal chin stroker. Sitting there going, oh, well, isn't this a load of shit, you know, and looking at, you know, and also looking at like, you know, the level of how much these raves sell out, and all the kids going mental for it and all the rest of it, and then just feeling like, wow, are we really like surrounded by that many fucking idiots in a way? Or but then that's the thing, is they don't want that. They're not the level that they're on in a way and wanting, and that's okay, you know, that's okay. And I've tried to come to terms with that, and not try to not focus so much on that, or try to get too caught up in that, because you can end up sort of resenting the music, resenting the scene.
It's not a great mindset to stick with, is it?
No, just, you know, focus, you know, I've been really, you know, put the blinders up. Focus.
And I think there is 99% of tracks do sound the same in a lot of ways, you know, not ways in what without the
not you, Casper.
But what was I going to say now?
99% of tracks sound the same.
Yes. But like, why focus on that? And because there always is that 1% or 5% even that is like super different and pushing the boundaries and making it exciting again. And if you have to search a bit harder for it, like that is always out there. So I think like when you sort of complain about the most of it sounding the same, it's like, yeah, it does, but like there is some really good shit. You just haven't found it yet. Like keep looking, you know.
And if that is what you want to do, be prepared for the fact that you're not going to be, headlining Coachella and demanding however many £1,000 a set. Like that is a hard route to take, and it can be you can feel very underappreciated. But then I don't know, like sometimes you see those kind of people end up kind of like lasting, and you're not doing it. You're doing it for the right reasons, and if you do it right and do it well enough for a long time, people will be like, damn, this is really worth paying attention to, and you can then move into that and be appreciated a bit more. But
cool.
It's tough.
All right, next question.
I don't know. I was trying to think of a third thing. A massive horn. There we go.
Just a huge horn.
Massive horn. Mate, gun fingers. I mean, if it sounds good on TikTok, that is the other thing.
So now we got the juicy bits. Is what you really wanted.
This is really what you. Yeah, this is really what
the TikTok foghorns.
The TikTok foghorns. I mean, that is what we're actually rebranding Overview Overhorn, which is the new sub label coming this year.
Yes.
Who needs sub? Who needs sub really? When when you're listening to a track on a phone,
no.
Who needs a sub? You just need a catchy hook
and mono mid range.
Mono mid range. If it grabs you after 0.6 seconds, then that is really what. That's
no changes in pitch either. Like just one note as well.
One note.
Yeah.
Sells. Big vibes. So that's my three. That's my third for you there.
Appreciate that. All right. Question 4 out of 7. How important is it for you to be living in the UK for running your label? Do you think you would have had the same online success from anywhere in the world? Because I imagine that a lot of your artists are like, I don't know if they are now actually, but I thought a lot were kind of from the UK originally, or you sort of got into the scene from people around you in the UK. And I wonder if you would have had the same sort of result, if you were just working from anywhere online somewhere else, organizing the label.
This is something that I've thought about, because I have thought about like potentially up in sticks from the UK and going somewhere else.
Yeah.
I think we're actually quite unique as a label. Maybe not so much these days, but maybe more so to like a lot of labels that came before. I mean, I think it's just the thing that the drum and bass scene has changed so much, and that it is so worldwide now. We do have a very kind of like even roster. I mean, I would probably say it's about 50-50 to like 50% UK artists, 50% from around the world. And right from the start, even the first release that we had someone from Serbia, 2 people from Australia, Austria.
Who's from Serbia?
Missing.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Legend. Big up George.
Yeah.
George. So we definitely started off like that, and I've never been kind of like discriminative of like, well, we need to just sign UK people because we could book them for shows. If you did have that mentality, you'd never sign someone from Australia. Like, it'd be like you'd never be able to afford to get them over. So we haven't been discriminative in that respect. And I genuinely like love other cultures and I've been obsessed with like other countries. Like even since being a kid, I was always like knew all the flags of the world. All the
I've been the same. I think it was my uncle when I was really young. He like sailed around the world, and like he told me all these stories about him sailing around the world in a boat when I was like a kid. And then I think that's where it started. And then like throughout school, I was always like to my mates, like, oh, we need to like chip in for a boat after school and then we can like go traveling. And I want
to go here. And
here. As soon as I finished school, I always wanted to just like fuck off and just like go exploring.
Yeah.
So I guess they're quite similar in that way.
No, that's cool. And and I really respect that. And I do feel that, I think that's why I have sort of like fallen into drum and bass, or that I've got into this, is because of its kind of like although it's originally a British thing, it has now expanded to all around the world. And I'm so fortunate. Like I can't believe, like, I have friends in almost like in so many countries around the world. And I really like, that's a fantastic bit of the job. To answer your question, no, I don't think that I wouldn't have been able to do what I've done outside of the I wouldn't have been able to do what I've done outside of the UK. I mean, I may have been able to do it, but it would have been a lot harder. And and I'm
why?
Because the scene is here, scene, the drum and bass scene really is here. I mean, that's why I say on the flip side of, like, Britain is spoilt to fuck with drum and bass, but we also have just so much drum and bass here. Say with the Volks down the road in Brighton, that's one of the reasons I'm in this, is because, Brighton, the Volks, it's a drum and bass club. All it, literally Friday, Saturday, every weekend is drum and bass, bringing in top acts from around the world. And, although you have that in other countries, it's not the same. UK, there's, on any given weekend, you've got Manchester, Bristol, London, Brighton, and then everywhere in between. And I think it's that thing as well of, like, it's like champagne is from Champagne and cheddar cheese is from cheddar. Drum and bass being from the UK gives it authenticity and legitimacy in a way that you can't do in another way. Like, all the, when you're, say you're a producer from Australia or Serbia or whatever, and it's like, oh, well, you're a drum and bass producer. It's like, oh, well, I'm signing to this British drum and bass label. That is like, it's like the real thing. It's like the real thing. And then, just generally being here, being able to sort of like create a solid base, because mine is, been the South. And if I lived in, if I did live in mainland Europe, the opportunities to do shows in Bristol, to do shows in London, and around the UK would have been so much harder. And I'm not sure that there's many other places in Europe, at least, that would be able to support that. And that's the other thing as well. That's the thing that I can say about the artists that signed to Overview. We fly over. I probably book too many international acts at some of my events, because it's not the most cost-effective thing to do. But for me, it's a really important thing, because we can bring these people over. We have a scene that can support that. Whereas, I mean, Holland is probably, I would say, like, one other country, I think, in Europe that is, like, I think could support it. I think like there is a lot of shows there. There's a lot of really, no, sorry, someone was back. There's a really good there's a really good scene there, really good community. Maybe Europe in general could, but it's just not on the same.
I totally understand, like, why that would be the case now, and how it's having that base there in the place where drum and bass comes from. It just would have so many more benefits to you being able to do what you want to do. But I think a lot of it is like with the local scene, that all kind of funnels into it, even with your whole online brand.
No, 100%. You need all these different, because we have the really strong online scene, but then we have the really strong in real life scene. And they're both, you both need both of those. I think it would be possible to now maybe go somewhere, like, if I was able to, like say, like Alex Perez is a good example of someone
that to New Zealand or something, didn't they?
So he now lives full time in New Zealand. I mean, obviously, like, he is Alex Perez, and people are prepared to, like, fly him back over to Europe and fly him to America. So, he's not, and Goldie lives in Thailand. They're not tied down to needing to be in a specific country, but people are prepared to pay them. I, at the moment, people would not be prepared to probably fly me back to the UK to play in Brighton.
But you could effectively run your label from anywhere, though, I suppose, couldn't you?
I could, and I think now that we've kind of like built up a label and there is a solid base there. I don't need to be at every overview show if I didn't want to. I choose to be because
of course,
your baby, it's really important. It's my baby, and it's the kind of like reward for doing it. But I could very easily just live in New Zealand and run it from New Zealand, and and it all probably still work as fine now. But we've got to that level. But I don't. Yeah, it would have been very, very difficult to do it otherwise, because I have thought about this. And being fortunate to be here, and just getting to meet people, and just get out there, it is huge.
Nice. We'll move on to number 5.
There we go. I think I've managed to answer that one a little bit quicker this time.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to keep so much of your time, but we're
nice and good. I love talking about overview.
Awesome. Number 5 then. How helpful is it to have a self-deprecating sense of humor while working in the competitive music industry? Because I've watched and loved a lot of your like content when you're sort of taking the piss out of yourself, like when you didn't win the D&B awards and you're sitting in your flat like with the TV on, and I've loved like some of these things that you've done, and I think I sometimes do similar kind of videos where I just sort of take the piss out of myself and just let people know it's not all that serious, But how important do you think that it is to have that sense of humor? Because it's such a competitive industry, isn't it? And to take things lightly, I suppose.
I'm not sure it's that important. No. If I was being like brutally honest, and that's probably me. That's probably me carrying on the self-deprecating. It's not really important. No one cares. No one cares really. I mean, I think what I think is important is being true to yourself and being genuine, being authentic. Like, and I've had this discussion with people before, because most drum and bass labels are very serious, are very cool, are very that's but that's them, that's their sense of that's their sense of self, or they want to portray that, and it can be very serious art, this is art, and all the rest of it. And we have some of that, like with what we do, and the music is very kind of serious, it's not silly music, but I myself personally, I've just always been that person, and I like to have a bit of fun. I think if it is you, and I think that to do it, I personally like it. I wish more people did do it, because I think sometimes it can be a bit too serious and a bit too stale, and like sometimes it is, we do need to kind of like lighten up a little bit and have a bit of fun, and not not take everything so seriously. But it comes with it. I think it does come with its own issues as well, in terms of like, well, will people take you seriously? Will people, there are maybe I'm undoubtedly sure that there are people out there that see some of how I act and what I do and think, wow, what a dickhead. And
I know. I think that all the time when I post something stupid.
I thought you were going to say, I thought you said, I think that all the time when you post online.
No, I don't, because I get it, and I'm the same. And I wonder sometimes when I post something like that's sort of taking the piss out of myself, and people won't get the joke, and I think, what is that idiot doing?
But then what
I think like, if you don't get me, then that's fine. Like,
but I think I think that's the thing. It's like, well, if they don't get it and they don't like it, they're not going to be your, they're not going to be your fan, and it's almost a way of being able to kind of like weed people out a little bit, in terms of like, if that is really going to intimidate them, or them think that you're a child or whatever, that who gives a fuck, if that's their problem, really. It's like, find the people, that's the thing. It's like trying to find the people that connect with that.
That's all about being just genuine and being yourself. Then you'll naturally find the right connections for you, won't you?
This is it. And that's what I think is where we've done so well, and building this community around that, because you know, because it does go a lot further. You know, we have a very, you know, we've got a real kind of like dedicated like group of people that really fucking love Overview.
That's cool.
You know, which is amazing, you know, and that has probably been generated through, and the people that I meet, you know, they are very like-minded, they are very down to earth, they are quite, you know, just genuinely nice people. You know, we don't, you know, it's that kind of thing of like attracts likes. So the people that see me doing what I'm doing and think that's fucking hilarious, you know, it brings them to us, and that's, you know, that's an important thing. But like I said, like, you know, that's you know, the important thing is being true to yourself. Like, you know, I do sometimes, and I've said it before, like I do sometimes wish I could be that fucking cool. Like I wish that I could, you know, I wish that I could take myself that seriously. You know, sometimes I think like, should I just give all that up and really do the black and white pictures and, you know, super serious face and, you know, real sex appeal and all the rest of it, and try to go down that. But I don't know. I couldn't take myself seriously enough. That's just not me. So I can't try to be something that I'm not. And yeah, you know, so if it works for you, that's cool. You know, if it doesn't, you know, then that's fine. You know, it's not a wrong or a right way of
completely
doing it in a way.
Yeah, it was just kind of my way of just giving a bit of a shout out to your little funny
thank you as well. Yeah, you know, I try. I've been trying to, well, not tone it down a little bit. I don't know, like I just haven't been, I haven't been in quite as big a trolling mood.
Yeah, you go through phases, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I you know, I've had a bit, you know, it's that thing, because I think, you know, say something like meme culture, for example. Like you know, I mean, yeah, I mean, I love a good fucking meme.
Yeah,
I'm definitely not as into it as I once was. You know, a number of years ago. I mean, it's become like a you know, memes are mainstream now. You know, and I do find that there's like a real balance, because I do, you know, I do sometimes, that whole kind of, you know, like we were saying earlier about this kind of like mainstream thing, and a big rise of like, you know, meme culture within drum and bass, and there is a danger of, for me, I find that there is a danger of where that can actually take away from your message and take away from it. And, you know, it's like you end up becoming a fucking meme page rather than a record label, you know, and so I've tried to sort of be careful with it in a way to not like exhaust it, because that's the thing. It'd be like, and it's again that thing of like attracts likes. Like, okay, you know, you can put all these memes up and get loads of likes, but it's then like, well, who is it that's actually liking it? And who are you attracting in? And then when you then try to then post something legitimate up, people are like, well, this isn't a funny meme. Like, I don't care about this.
It's not what I signed up for.
This isn't what I signed up for. You know, this isn't why I like this page. I thought this was a meme page. It's like, no. So there's definitely a fine balance, and there's definitely a fine balance with doing that kind of thing. You know, my big thing is just trying to do it yourself. Like, I just, the last thing I do is say take other people's content. You know, because you get these videos, they do the rounds, and all the D&B meme pages are all posting it, and I just stay far away from that sort of thing. Yeah, it is. It's like, well, what makes you stand out? What makes you unique? You know, there's so many now, like, you know, these D&B Instagrams or whatever. They do bits, they do numbers. That's the thing. They've got huge followings and all the rest of it, and they can help record labels out and help artists out, but it just can border on just a bit vapid.
That's a good word. Vapid. Symbiotic.
Sorry,
and vapid.
Sorry, guys. I'm getting my thesaurus out for you guys.
I've got two track names out of this already. Symbiotic and vapid.
That sounds very drum and bass, actually.
Vapid. So, question number 6. It's a bit more personal for you. If you could achieve one huge goal in your career in music, no matter how grandiose or unlikely, what would it be?
One goal.
Yeah, or one accomplishment, you know? Something just epic that would just be like, wow, this is the best thing that's ever happened?
I mean, a big goal for me, and I think a big goal for Overview would be to do a legitimate artist album. I think that is
that's not so out of reach, though, is it?
No, I mean, well, you're saying you want
I'm
something
thinking the other,
completely
like, extreme, you know,
extreme.
like play a set on a rocket or something.
I mean, if I was to really be honest, it would be to actually go further than drum and bass, but what that looks like and what that means, I don't know yet, and I'm not sure if I've even got the time to fucking do it now.
Yeah.
You know, part of me would like to almost take Overview even further than music and even further than drum and bass, and do something really, really big with it.
That sounds cool.
And really, yeah, I don't know. You know, you look at something like Virgin. You know, for example, you know, he started off as a, you know, selling magazines in his basement. You know, they moved to then becoming a record label and a record store, then a record label, and now he's, you know, doing fucking rockets into space. Do you know what I mean? And you know, banks and internet. I'm not quite sure I'm got out for doing all of that. But I don't know. You know, for me, maybe even me personally, yeah, I would be interested to try and do something else bigger, because drum and bass is good, and I think drum and bass is it's got a really fantastic community, and people are really dedicated. There's a lot of really nice people here, but it is quite, you know, it is its own little thing.
It has got its own thing, you know, and it's at our hearts, and it's what we love, but we don't have to limit ourselves to that, you know.
No, there's
our creativity.
There's a whole world, you know, there's a whole world out there,
and that's how I've sort of found my way a little bit, or started to think about it, is, you know, as a sound designer, for example, and, you know, even just from just making my tutorials and making like presets and samples and stuff, and people were like, oh, why don't you make some stuff for this kind of music, and then why don't you make some stuff for this? And then I think more, you know, as a sound designer, I could really make sort of sounds for anything, like other genres, and then could be, you know, going into TV or film and stuff like that as well. And that's video games. So that's opened my mind, at least, to how I can sort of do other things as well as just like what I love, you know, the D&D.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, you know. Yeah, you know, and I think that's a good thing to follow, to keep things sort of like fresh and exciting, and be pushing yourself to maybe try and push yourself out of your comfort zone, to try something that's different, that's obviously out of the world that you know. You know, and I think that's important for anybody, kind of, to keep them, you know, to keep them kind of like fulfilled in a way. I mean, some people are, you know, maybe again different things with different people. Maybe some people are happier to kind of go on and do the same thing. I'm probably not. I probably am someone that wants to kind of like push myself and go further and see how far you can actually take it, I guess.
I love the ambition. I love the ambition. I think it's always nice to have something like a bit unachievable, or, you know, far to reach for anyway, you know, even if you don't end up doing it. It's just nice to have that as a
I mean, you know, I think my thing with that is probably trying to spend some time and actually work out what that actually is, and actually trying to figure out what that looks like, and what
the steps towards it are.
Because that's the thing of, like, you know, working backwards and having that real intent and having that real reason, because it's all that. It's that thing. I could sit here and go talk. I can talk and go, well, you know, one day we want to do Overview Airlines or something ridiculous. But it's like,
with each one of your roster members flying each jet while DJ. Well, it's all automated anyway, so they're just DJing in the cockpit.
I was going to say, maybe that'll be our USP. Maybe we'll do like DJ sets on airplanes. So that's why people would want to sign up and go on your airplane and be like, right, well, we get to go on get to go on an airplane, and Waze is going to play a set for us, you know, the whole way.
That's the gig, you know, London to Rome, and the set is while you're up in the air. And then when you land, you're like, what do I do now? Well, whatever you want, mate.
Just
go to your hotel and relax.
Yeah, here's your fee. There you go. We got one on the way back tomorrow.
That's an interesting world.
yeah. But but it's that thing, it's that thing of like actually like spending a bit of time and thinking about it. But it is tougher, and obviously like say the further the further I'm going up the ladder, the more I've got to do, the more my time is being taken up. But on the flip side of that, I never ever saw me in this position. 7 years ago, if you'd have told me, when I first started all of this, what would happen. If you'd have told me what had happened, if you told me this was going to happen when I got kicked out of Lifestyle and what was going to happen, now, I would, it just seems unbelievable. It seems, mental what we've kind of like managed to do in the time that we've managed to do it in, and considering the circumstances, considering that happened, to kind of like turn it around is just already just like
it's a great story already, and you'll have a fucking epic life to look back on like when you're older. Anyway, like it's amazing what you've done, and I love the label and the quality and everything. It's always
we're trying, but that's the thing. It's the thing of like, I never could have pictured this, that number of years ago. It was a dream, it was an ambition. My real thing was to try and make it in drum and bass and create, a life for myself. I think that was always my biggest ambition. If you'd have, I was saying it for years and years and years. If you'd have asked me, go, Pete, what do you want to do? What do you want to, and my thing was always like, I just, I want to be self-sufficient. I want to be able to be self-sufficient, my own boss, being able to generate my own income.
That's been my dream for so long as well, and that's why I've worked so hard at trying to get close to that, and getting to the point where I can sort of sustain myself just from making music, from DJing, from teaching, and all that kind of stuff. Is so like, just have to remember to be grateful for it often, because I still have days when I just forget about how grateful I should be for it.
No, it's really important to be really important to remember that, and yeah, I do try to be, like you say, you go through sort of like phases of it, and you can, that's the thing, you can end up being like, well, I haven't got as much as I should have, or looking at other people having the success. But then like you're saying, like even just that, like it's not like an unrealistic, it was never an unrealistic goal, but it's a hard goal. It is a hard goal to reach, and I'm kind of there now. So but obviously it's that thing of like maintaining it. Like, you can't, just because I'm here now doesn't mean I will be forever, and I've got to keep on with the motivation, keep on with that, with that mindset to keep it going, because I'm incredibly fortunate to be in the position that I am now. I've worked fucking hard for it, and it's it is fucking hard work trying to keep it up.
I appreciate all the work you do, mate,
in general.
No,
but I'm lucky, with what I get, and to not go into a fucking bore it, into going to like a mind-numbing job with some idiot telling me what I can and can't do, and I'm not allowed to do this and that.
And secretly, that his like snares are shit, and you're
like, he just doesn't. He doesn't know. Like,
do you know what snare is, mate?
yeah. You're telling me what to do. So it's definitely those that sort of thing. But we'll see. Like I said, I can't believe quite where I've managed to get to already. So who knows? Who knows where things will be in another 10 years, and looking back and going, fucking hell.
Awesome.
that got really crazy.
All right, I've got a final question for you. Question 7. It's the question I ask everyone who I do this with, which is, it's the message from the grave. So if you are gone from this world and you have to leave a message on your gravestone to sort of inspire other people to like live out their best life or something like that.
Oh, that's a bit fucking.
Yeah, it is a bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So what message would you want to have written on your grave?
I mean, you know, there is a theory that we're actually already dead already, and we're actually living in we're actually already reliving our own life. So you may actually already be in your own grave.
Oh wow. Okay.
Just to put that out there.
Yeah, put it into perspective.
It's also really bad. What I would say, no, I don't know. All I can think of now is fucking. I don't know if you watched the Jimmy Savile. You haven't watched the Jimmy Savile Netflix documentary, have you?
I don't think so. No.
No. Maybe it's.
Maybe I will after this.
I don't know, man. It's nightmare inducing. It's really bad. But he left a really fucked up fucking message on his gravestone.
What did it say?
I think it said it was good while it lasted.
Oh, right.
His message on his tombstone, and just dark, really dark.
Yeah.
That's what I don't know why my instant thing went to that. It's probably because I watched it like a couple of days ago. What would my message be?
It's more, you think of it more of something to inspire other people, you know, a sort of last inspirational message to give to others.
Just do it. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Just do it. that's my
okay,
message.
Short and sweet.
No, I mean, look, you know, I think, yeah, probably something like that. I don't know. I think it's an interesting thought, because I think it's actually good to remind yourself of your own mortality and how you would look at your life when you are on your deathbed, because it's not, you know, that's a pretty terrifying fucking thing. You know, it's pretty terrifying to think I'm gonna die one day, you know, but at the same time we are like, I'm gonna die, hopefully not, you know. That's the thing, you may die, you know, again, you may
die, so just fucking do it and live out your dream, basically, you know, go for it, fucking work hard.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I really do. I do think that, you know, it's that thing of like, you know, you look back at your life. Are you going to be happy with what you did, and really being honest with yourself that you did what you could, and you took this amazing opportunity that, you know, we are so fucking fortunate to be here doing, you know, even alive.
Yeah.
I think I was even I had this like really. I had this night the other night, and I was really like on this philosophical kind of like you know, thought, and I was literally just thinking how amazing it is that we can think. Like, I know that sounds almost like at the most basic level of everything is the fact that we can even think about thinking in a way, and
we get so far away from that basic appreciation of the little things, don't we?
Not only, but the thing is it's probably the biggest. It's one of the biggest things, but it seems so little, and you know, and we gloss over it, and you know, again, like not appreciative, not really understanding, and we all get caught up in silly bullshit and whatever. But then when you know, take a step back and reevaluate and really look on a deeper level and just think, wow, I can't actually believe I'm here. You know, we didn't ask to be here. But we're here right now, living our lives, and that is just so, you know, so amazing, and to just like kind of remember that when things are shit, or you're worried about stuff, and then use that to motivate you. You really use that to kind of like, you know, be like, yes, you know, I am really lucky to be here. So take that opportunity, take that moment, take this fleeting moment that we have, and go out there into the world and make something of yourself.
Absolutely love it, Pete. Thanks so much for coming on. I'm gonna talk to you for 1 minute after I finish this podcast, but
I think maybe one of my ambitions should be to write a book. Maybe I'll get into writing. Maybe that's how I can make my money.
Yeah, that's always my plan. If my ears ever just capitulate because I've been blasting mid basses into them for too long, then once they are gone, then I'll become a writer, I think, because that was kind of always my passion when I was a kid.
Really, you're not joking with me right now.
When I was doing sort of creative writing at school, and I was like always the first or second in the class. Like my teacher
Mhm.
I would always get really good grades for like creative writing, basically, and they like couldn't believe that my imagination at the time. And yeah, I was really, really into it, like when
Right.
I was really young. But then I was kind of always my second like passion, I suppose, after
Right.
music. Music came later, but then I kind of got into that world, you know.
Hmm.
But the writing was something I had much from before then, you know.
Well, then, maybe reignite that flame. Maybe,
I was thinking the other day I
you
might
know,
start a blog or something. Yeah.
yeah, start a blog, or start something. See, we want one of those like machines. I think that would be better for me rather than actually having to physically sit there and type it all out. Just sit there and like talk at a machine.
Yeah, well, you can do it on a
Then like
voice detector thing, can't you? Voice
that'd be
input.
easy.
Yeah, it's easy
So
for you.
easy.
Yeah, you drive
Yeah,
pages.
yeah. I
Wouldn't
could
you?
talk for fucking. People be like, "Oh, fucking hell! I just wish you'd just shut up after a while." I've done after page 3.
All right.
But anyway, yeah. Anyway, sorry. I'm gonna keep trying to shut me up is a difficult one.
The
But no,
YouTube
honestly,
upload is going to just take hours, you know.
but no, honestly, thank you so much for having me on to talk. Like
Yeah,
I
thanks,
said,
mate.
I'm always I love having a chat, and I love I love getting asked questions and like trying to respond, even if it
Yeah.
does take me half an hour to answer a question.
Oh, it's been really, really good fun for me, mate. Appreciate it. Thanks, man.
No, all good. And yeah, big up to anyone else that has been watching or
Thanks,
listening.
guys. Ciao, ciao.
Big up.